Give him a
Going
little
on to the
swag.
top five receivers this season. We'll go ahead and start off with Spence.
Well, for mine, number one is the man that's your team eliminated, Mr. Mr. Adams for the Green Bay Packers. I felt like this season he completely he did a lot, and I feel like that. Number two is the man that this man, well, the other one, eliminated for the Bills. Diggs had a phenomenal year, especially with a new team and everything. He had a phenomenal year, lead the league in receiving yards, I believe.
Yes, you
And
did.
yep. So definitely going with him. Number three. Well, I mean, I'm going with the man from the Cardinals. I'm going with D Hop. I gotta go with D Hop on this one. Number four was number four is up there for me, but number four and five, you can switch off here and there. It's still up to me. Number four is gonna be AJ Brown for the Titans, and number five is the rookie who made his first Pro Bowl in the Vikings, Mr. Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
And those are
All
my
right, Trey.
five, gentlemen.
Not mad at that list. Number one, I got that boy Diggs. I mean, he proved he's a number one receiver. There was always kind of like that question, I guess, for some people when he was in Minnesota, that is he just benefiting off of, Cleveland was the one over there. So was this just a benefit off of, him playing with Thielen?
Him.
But no, he proved that he's a number one. Maybe Thielen was benefiting off of him. I don't know. But that boy balled out. So
Yeah.
I got him at number one. Led league receiving. I got my boy D Hop at two. Yeah, he's just so consistent. Like it doesn't matter where he's at, who the quarterback is, he gonna get his pretty much. So you got to respect the consistency that he always every year he's in the conversation for top receiver. So Tyreek Hill or the Cheetah got him at three. So as far as like yardage wise, let's go back. So Stephon Diggs had 1,535 yards with 8 touchdowns. You had D Hop with 1,407 yards with 6 touchdowns. Now Tyreek Hill, the yardage take a kind of like a dip, right? He only had 1,276, but that man had 15 touchdowns. It's like that's crazy. Got to put that boy. Got to show him some love.
Mm.
And I mean, he's the only one out of these receivers, well, on my list right now, that still playing, obviously. So that has to count for something too, right? Nonetheless, number four, Devontae Adams. This man balled out too. And you got to factor in the fact that they pretty much, he was cleared to play, or he felt he was cleared to play. And it was a couple games, I think 2 games specifically, where they kept him on the injured reserve list. They didn't want to let him play. He didn't come back until that Bucks game the first time. So, and he still ended up with 1,374 yards and 18 touchdowns. So just imagine the type of season he could have had if he would have got them 2 games that they didn't let him play. So that's crazy. He balled out. And number five, who I had as number one mid-season or early in the season, my
Ah.
boy, baby Braun, DK Metcalf, with 1,303 yards and 10 touchdowns. I got him closing out the top five. Honorable mention would be the boy Justin Jefferson, but second year, I mean, the yardage is cool, but as far as touchdowns, Metcalf had more touchdowns. So it's like, we'll 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 see. We'll see. There's no tape on Justin Jefferson really coming out. So we'll see if he looks as explosive now that everybody
Years to come.
knows that he's coming for year two. But that's my top five. I just want to point
All
out
right.
one thing real quick though, because the reason this was all birth was because uh, Chad Johnson and Brandon Johnson or Brandon Marshall, they went and they sat down with Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf, and it was just like open floor conversation about the best receivers, this and that, and they gave their top five. And which was funny to me, they both put Julio at one, which that is respect. And if we're talking like just talent, that probably is the number one receiver, arguably in the league. But as far as this season, he was hurt a lot, and it's just like they just put him there basically off of like the strength, but this is more so like actual production, what
Right.
people did this year. Because if we're being real, Calvin Ridley had a better year in Atlanta this year than Julio did. Nothing against you, Julio, just saying. But go ahead, Vic.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, I've seen that list,
Yeah,
the top five. Seem more like top five in terms of their opinion of receivers, more so than top
yeah,
five.
that could have been style. I don't know
Yeah,
exactly what they were necessarily pointing at. Couldn't have been production because they slided a couple people. I feel,
yeah,
but whatever.
yeah. So I
That
mean,
is,
to me, I understand that, but Julio doesn't even crack any of that for me. Like just for in terms of this season, like he wouldn't even be probably top 15. But doesn't mean that he's not a top five player in my opinion. I think he is the best receiver in the game. It's just injuries
yeah,
have
for
been
some
a
reason.
big plague to his career. So plague.
Yep. Yep.
So with that being said, Devontae Adams cracks my number one spot on my list. Stated this numerous times. Devontae is my favorite receiver in the NFL. Uh, but again, if I had to choose between Devontae and Julio, I would say Julio. But that's if I'm getting a healthy Julio. So again, Devontae is the number one receiver. He has the second. He has the best catch percentage out of all the receivers that is on the list, which is at 77.18% catch percentage this season. Um, he does have, like Trey was talking about, I'm pretty sure he missed 3 games, or it was 2 or 3 games.
2 or 3, something like that. Yeah,
It has to be 3 because if you get put on the reserve list, you have to miss 3 games minimum.
yeah, 3.
So 3 games. 115 receptions for 1,300, 1,374 receiving yards, and to top that off, 18 touchdowns this season. He had 23 receptions over 20 yards and 5 receptions over 40, 40 yards. So I mean that's a huge testament in terms of what he was doing. Um, yards after catch is 5.2, which leads all the receivers in terms of receivers that crack the 1,000 yard mark. Um, so my second receiver is Stephon Diggs. Obviously, he was the leading receiver in the NFL with 1,535 yards this year, 8 touchdowns. Um,
Yeah,
he
that's
also had a 76.51 catch percentage this year. So pretty much it's going his way. He's coming down with it for the most part. 3.5 yards after catch, 127. So, I mean, compared to Devontae Adams, 115, he had 127, which is not that much. It's only 12 catches difference. But still, great season to Stephon Diggs. He finally got his shine. The third receiver on my list, I have D Hop. Um, I was going back and forth with this player and the next player that I'm getting ready to mention. But with D Hop, he has the third best catch percentage, which is 71.88. 115 receptions, 1,407 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns. He did have the most um, 40-yard receptions um, compared to Tyreek and Metcalf and all those other players. So he had 6. 40-yard receptions or more. And he was targeted 160 times. So again, with his catch percentage being at 71.88, I put him over the next player, which is Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is at 64.44. But as Trey was talking about earlier, he only has 87 receptions. 87 compared to these other guys that had at least 115. He had 1,276 receiving yards, 15 touchdowns, which is second most behind that boy Devontae Adams. That's number one on my list. And of course, I'm sure he missed a few games. I don't know in terms of how many, but I know he missed one game at least. But he had 20 yards, 20. He had what?
I said I want to say 2.
Yeah.
I want to say.
He had 20 reception, 20 catches of 20 yards or more, and he had 5 of those that were at least 40 yards. So again, Tyreek Hill is my 4th receiver, and then the last receiver to go on to my 5th spot on my list is DK Metcalf, which I was tossing and turning with this one because, me and Trey, we both had DK as our number 1 receiver mid-season. DK, 83 receptions, 1303, 10 touchdowns. He had a phenomenal year, second-year player. I agree with Trey in terms of Justin Jefferson. He is the honorable mention. I really like what he did, but show me again. This time the spotlight is going to be more on you, more so than it was on Adam Thielen. But DK's Metcalf's catch percentage was 64.34. So he was the lowest out of the receivers that I seen that had over 1,000 yards receiving. So with that being said, that's my top 5 receivers this season.
Okay, Tyreek played 15 games this year.
Oh, he played 15, so he missed one. So yeah.
Missed one. Okay.
Yeah,
and I think that's only because they sat everybody week 17. So.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well,
but nonetheless, I mean,
right.
touchdowns with far less receptions than half the people on the list. That's crazy. But
yeah.
You know why the receptions are so low though? Because there's Travis Kelce who got just about the same amount of receptions.
Best receiving, best tight end production in a season.
So, I mean, wasn't he? Did he finish just under Diggs?
Oh yeah, he was second.
Yeah, so that says a lot.
You got a quarterback that's just looking at his armory like, well, which one I'm gonna shoot with.
Yep.
So I understand.
Yeah, so real quick, I just wanted to pull it up. So 1,416 yards and 11 touchdowns for Travis Kelce. So shout out to him too. And with that, he missed week. They sat everybody week 17. So who knows what their numbers. I mean, obviously, Tyreek would have not went up that much more, but
hey,
Kelce definitely.
Actually, week 17, Tyreek did play.
Oh, he did play 17.
Yeah, remember that
the catch.
You're right.
In the first down catch, right?
But so he missed a game
prior then. Okay,
but he did miss a game, right? Okay.
I just don't know what game that was.
Yeah, but nonetheless.
All right. So on to the final topic of